Yo, what up, Chai here? Look at this. It's so bland. I might have to go beyond to things that I can make this better and have more pizzazz. Whoa, that's better. Now I can flex on anyone that have a luxury controller. This is a controller. This is the gateway from the player and the game world. It's the only way to control the games to be able to control the games. This here plays an important role in gaming. No pun intended. Without this, you can't even pass the menu! We all know every console has to have a controller. I mean, there's a bunch of them with all sorts of shapes and sizes. They also come in sorts of colors, letting the consumer decide what color fits them more. But sometimes you don't get what you want. There could be a certain color combination that you like, but the game company doesn't offer that. So you have to go deeper in order to get what you want. And that's when I discovered the world of Etsy. They sell custom knickknacks that are made by fans like us. This place is known for resin style buttons, OEM style cases, stickers and labels for cartridges that don't have end labels, and even stays that display certain peripherals. With that being said, I've decided to customize my own controller, and what other controller than the GameCube controller? The reason is that since I'm playing Melee competitively, why not make this controller specifically for Melee and not have it as a decoration for my car? I'm gonna say the word controller a lot. This is my current controller. It's the ultimate controller, as you can tell from the logo. I picked this version because the cord was longer and it's the later version. What I did to this controller is a button swap, changing the sticks, sleeve the cord with the paracord, and swap the back shell from a third-party controller, then dyed it blue. I wanted to have a black and blue theme since I like seeing the blue accents, just like my car's interior. I feel like all blue is a bit too much for my eyes, so that's why I went with the configuration. I like customizing the controller a lot, so why not do it again? Since I already customized the controller for myself, now I'm doing a white one for a fellow Twitch streamer. His theme is like a sunset pink, so I'm gonna go around with that color scheme. So I ordered these buttons and paracord through Etsy. All of these buttons are remade out of resin material. They usually make it cast from an OEM button, so it gets that OEM feel to the touch. Though I do like the green, red, and gray buttons on the GameCube controller, it's just not gonna fit the final product. Especially that C-stick. Oh god, it'll look off. So I will be replacing the C-stick. I'm also gonna install a pink and white paracord through the cord, just for the look and to identify which plug is yours, since some of the controller ports may look the same and don't want to unplug the wrong controller. I'm also replacing the internal Z buttons to feel tactical for the quick grab action. I just bummed it off of like a third-party controller, so where do I find one? Just find your local third-party controller laying around somewhere. The only thing that I'm not changing is the shell and joystick, since he wanted to keep the shell, and the joystick is the best joystick I ever touched with my left thumb. So that's my plan. Time to purchase the items. The items have arrived, time to build it. To start with the build, I unscrewed the 6 tri-wing screws on the back. I'm using this iFixit toolkit and it's got some of the tips I needed for any console modding or repairing. And now you can see the thing naked. The first thing I did was desolder the cord from the controller to install the paracord. I'm replacing the connector so I can cut the pins off and repin the wires with a different one later on. I'm heating up the plug so I can remove the rubber shielding from the wire. I'm just using a heat gun to loosen it up. You only need like 15 to 30 seconds of heating and just pull it. In order to install the cord, you would have to cut the original rubber sleeving, but there's a zip tie at one end of the cord, so cut that off without cutting yourself. I just guided my scalpel down through the shield and pulled the cord down. Just be careful with the copper shielding. Usually other people will remove the copper shielding for shorter cords, but since I got the longer one, I'm just keeping it here. The purpose of the copper shielding is to reduce any signals coming from Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or even radio frequencies that can interfere with the power going through the wires. The paracord portion is pretty easy, but it does take some time and a bit of elbow grease. I have the tip wrapped in slick scotch tape so it's easier to maneuver through the paracord. This took me about 20 minutes to do, so while I'm doing this, just watch a show or something. Now that the paracord is in, I used a small piece of ink shrink and have it secured to the plug side and shrink it down and put the plug together. As for the other side, I installed an aftermarket connector so I can unplug the cord if I wanted to. So I just crimped the pins to the wires and inserted to the male connectors while soldering the female connector to the motherboard. Since the solder is still on, might as well replace the Z buttons with a tactical button. Yes, it is compatible. Now you can turn off your soldering iron. As for the buttons and sticks, it's just a remove and replace, but for the L&R buttons, it's just covered by a protector that can be easily removed just by a Phillips screwdriver. It's a bit tricky to take out because of the springs, but just push the springs together so you can get out the triggers and replace the triggers and put them back together and test it out. To be honest, this is a pretty simple build. The only time consuming part was the cord, but if you don't want to do that, then just switching the shells and or the buttons is really easy, since it's just remove and replacing. Where have I heard that from? Anyways, doing a customization like this is really fun, and you can do it on your own. In the past, I swapped out the grips on the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Now you can see where my inspiration for blue controllers come from, but I've been seeing people on deployment changing out the entire shells with the Super Nintendo theme version. Aesthetically, it looks nice, but I remember when I gave it a try and it feels very cheap. Some of the products I purchased, like these transparent blue buttons, were not smooth at all. The buttons felt like they were stuck or something. So when you want to customize a controller, try to find decent quality ones, like on Etsy. Some might feel very light compared to the OEMs. I really don't recommend the ones on eBay that are going for $5 or something because they feel very mushy and don't get a satisfying feel to the touch. This C-stick is acceptable though. This set is great for the most part, but mind you, there are still third-party shenanigans that cross from eBay sellers, so be careful with that. For a custom controller like this, it's pretty fun modding. Of course, there's some individuals that have their own different tastes, but the options are out there, so it's your choice. Might as well do some more modding in the future. It's not an addiction, I swear!